Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is James Thomas Devitt from the Blue Star Spiritual Group, based here in Wellington, New Zealand. Today, I thought let's change it up a little bit. We've done pieces on reflection, choice, love, and I thought today was a good day to do one on a subject that I'm kind of passionate about, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Starseeds, light workers, dark workers, indigo children, crystalline children, so on and so on. Tamia. I actually kind of lump all of that into one category, which is called volunteers. So today this is going to be about the volunteers and about Native humans, and the relationship between both, as well as why the volunteers are here to begin with. That's very important. Many of you who resonate to being a volunteer, starseed, light worker, whatever, do you know why you're here? Do you know what brought you here? Do you know how long you've been here? And do you know whether you've done this before? Now, one thing that I've kind of discovered in my life, in this embodiment, is that many of the volunteers have been through the ringer. Many of them have been abused, have had major issues around self-esteem, have had major issues around self-love. It's almost like we've had to go through these things to build our level of compassion and assist others in clearing out karma, but also really bringing ourselves into balance, which could be balancing energies from multiple different lifetimes. But I think, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the beginning. Okay? Little history, if you will. It's taken a lot of years of discernment and communication with the guys on the other side to get to this point of understanding and knowing. And I'm going to pass that on to you today. A planet. We'll say Earth. Make it easy. It forms. And this particular planet was provided with some special energies, shall we say. And it is in what astronomers and scientists would say is the Goldilocks zone. So that's the zone where you can have life. Now, at one time there was life on Mars. But we're not going to go into that a whole lot today. This is mainly about the volunteers, starseeds, light workers, dark workers, indigo children, crystalline children, the volunteers, and the native humans. Because to be honest with you, it's them. That's the reason we're here to begin with. All right, we're not here for ourselves per se. So to put things to try and put things into the easiest terminology possible for people to understand, I'll use certain phraseology simply to make it easier to understand. Life begins. And when the life begins, somewhere in the universe, someone's computer screen lights up and they, okay, this planet, it's creating life. And they send a group. Now, this is not like your normal everyday group of beings. These are not light workers, they're not dark workers, they're neutral. They come from the great central sun area of the universe, kind of like, in essence, where God resides. but it's different. We'll just leave it at that. So they come and they start their assessments. Now, when they arrived here on this planet, there was a group already here who had kind of decided that they wanted this planet for themselves, and they were willing to fight for it. So a group was contacted to come in and basically clean house and get rid of the infestation of beings that were here trying to claim this world. You see, there was certain energies that had been implanted here. This planet was destined, if you will, to have life. This is a very special place. Not all places that go through this evolutionary strain hold the same weight as this planet does. There is some real special aspects to this world, which, to be honest with you, at this particular juncture is neither here nor there. But needless to say, a group did come in and removed said group that thought that this planet was going to be theirs. And so assessments were started and assessments were done on this planet. And it was determined and decided that this planet had phenomenal potential. Now, the potential in question is the potential of evolution. Not evolution like growing a tail or flappy ears or anything like that. An evolution of the soul, the spirit. Now, at one time on this planet, there was approximately 26 to 30 different human species. You look at the species, the animal species on this planet, and there are a multitude of varieties of species. Well, the same was with humans as well. And it's a long process. It doesn't happen instantaneously. When it got to a particular point and a particular energetic signature, a call went out to a group of individuals. Now, these individuals were very special in the sense that they come from a place that was the most recent to have gone through the evolutionary cycle in the Pleiades. And that's why Tobin's here. That's why I'm channeling Tobin now, because where he's from is the planet that went through this evolutionary cycle. And they went through it. They got through it like over 1 million years ago. So like I said, it takes time. It doesn't happen instantaneously. In the world of spirit, or in the world of God, time doesn't work the way it does here. You can live to be 105 years old, or like George Burns, who lived to be, I think it was 110. And in true reality, that's just a drop in the bucket, really. Most of you have lived hundreds, if not thousands, of lifetimes. Think about it. If you lived 100 years and you lived 1,000 lifetimes, that's a lot of time on one planet. So they came and they began a process of altering the DNA and RNA of the native human population. Now, as this was going on, the initial calls went out for you guys, for the volunteers, the Starseeds, the light workers, the dark workers, the indigo children, the crystalline children, so on and so on, to begin to come. Now, the original 4 groups, because there's 4 groups here, and I'll just call them the original 4 groups, they are basically the administrators of this project. They're in charge of this project and ensuring that this project is successful. So the volunteers began to come and they began learning about this world the sacredness of this world, the energies of this world, all the different aspects. This world, a planet of duality, density, illusion, games. Okay, so we need light workers, we need dark workers, we need the whole gambit of everything. And the reason is that so the native human population can experience everything that the volunteers bring to the table and can make a choice. Because at the end of the day, that's really the kicker. That's the bottom line. As volunteers, we don't make the choice about this world. It's the native humans that do. We've been through this process. This is the 5th time. 4 times we've been through this process and it didn't work. If you think back to the prophecies, the biblical prophecies of Armageddon and Judgment Day and all of this, although the descriptions are overly dramatic, not overly accurate, but the prophecies themselves were accurate until 1987. And in 1987, they had an event called the harmonic convergence. At that event, native human population, you don't need everybody, just a percentage. Choice was made to evolve. This began a process. On December 21st, 2012, one of two things would have happened. Either there would be no life on this planet and we'd be preparing to start again, or we would pass the point of no return. You see, the original groups created several places like Atlantis, Lemuria. The Hathors were an extraterrestrial group that was here for a period of time doing work to assist in this project, this process. And it was in Lemuria and Atlantis, these areas where the volunteers came and began their sojourn into physicality here. See, when you first arrived on this planet, you weren't in physical. You were much more etheric in nature. And it's a process of stepping down your vibrational frequency until you become physical. And then, of course, initially you had full memory of who you were, where you came from, all of these things, and eventually you would die. And when that happened, then you would be reborn and start a new life. And as these lives continue to move and continue to go, you would begin to forget more and more of who you truly were and where you came from. This was important. In order to do what you needed to do, you needed to forget who you were, where you came from. Many of you are familiar with the terminology of the Akashic records, right? How many of you do know the fact that there is more than one Akashic record? There is an Akashic record that entails this universe. But every planet that has life, every planet that has gone through this process, also has an Akashic record. So basically, as you incarnate here, you leave who you are, or a good part of that, with the Akashic records of the universe. You take on your persona, your experiences, everything you've done here on this planet from the Akashic records of this world. And you come and you live your life. What's the point? Well, once the volunteers became physical here, they slowly began to interact with different native humans. Some of these native humans were awakened to certain concepts and principles that they have actually carried through their incarnations on this planet. To where today there are native humans who think that they're volunteers. But they've been through a lot more. They're the ones that are assisting in driving this evolution of the spirit, of the soul, if you will. So when the Pleiadians came, I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Do that sometimes. I apologize. Just follow me along, if you will. When the Pleiadians came and they altered the DNA and RNA of the native human population, what this did was it created within them the divine spark. Basically, it's a gift from God. When this divine spark was created a soul within that physical body. And in that moment that the divine spark was created within that native human individual, they became divine. They became more than what they were, more than simply of Earth. They became part of this universe. Although they wouldn't know that, most of them still don't know that, but they will learn it, and they will experience it in magical ways, in a myriad of different ways. Many of the volunteers that are here have been the volunteers in the Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, Orion. We're going back over 1 billion years. Each one of you is a master of evolution. Doesn't mean that every moment of your existence is in service in this manner as a volunteer. You got to go back and forth. You'll go home, spend time at home, doing other things, and then it's like something will resonate with you and you go, time to go. And you come to a planet like this as a volunteer to assist. But you're masters at it. You assist in opening the native human population to new concepts. Think about it for a moment. When I first learned Reiki and became a Reiki master, it was March of 1991. Reiki was massive new age. Okay? You look at it today, Reiki is mainstream. People hear, oh, you're a Reiki master. Oh, you're a Reiki master. Okay, yeah. They don't even, there's no thought about it. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. I've heard of that. No big deal. 1991, it's a massive deal because it was very different, very strange, very off the wall for a lot of people. The prophecies have changed. The prophecies of destruction were real, but not anymore. We look and we see what's going on, and a lot of people are going, this planet is screwed, man. I mean, look at all the war and harm and murder and yes, there is that happening. There is a battle going on as we speak, and it's between the old energy and the new energy that's coming in. The old energy thinks it's dying. In a way it is, but it's not. It's actually entering a transformative process. Transformation is beginning to occur. There are those of you in my group, in the way, spiritual philosophy, which I see changing and transforming, tying more into who you truly are. And that's exciting. Now that's a little bit of the history of why we're here. But there's a lot of different, I say volunteer, you might say starseed or light worker or indigo child or crystalline child, heaps of different ones. So I want to go over some of those with you as well. All right. Starseed, very simple. You come from somewhere else to be here. You might come from the Pleiades, the Sirius, Arcturus, Alpha Centauri, Orion, heaps of other different places heaps of different places. This universe is teeming with life, straight up. Light workers and dark workers. Light workers, they serve light. They like things very ordered, very straightforward. It's like, these are the rules, this is how you play, this is what you do, and if you do this, then you can move forward, you can do all the things you need to do. A dark worker serves darkness. Now that doesn't necessarily equate to evil, okay? Dark worker, they think that everything works much better through chaos, through conflict, these types of things. So they're always kind of battling each other because, the dark worker's going, but chaos is the way it works. That's the best way of doing it. Light worker's like, no. Order. Must be ordered. Follow the rules. Do it the right way. That's the only way. So you have those of light and those of darkness who are always trying to better each other and conflict. And, well, guess what? This is a planet of duality and density and illusion and games. And so they play. But that's fine. They're supposed to. It gives all the native humans an opportunity to make choices from watching the light workers and the dark workers go at it. Now, it's very interesting. I've personally met, a number of different reptilian dark workers. Met one last year, online, unfortunately. I have met some in person. Every time I meet a dark worker, someone who serves darkness, without fail, they call themselves a light worker. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everyone that says that they're a light worker is actually a dark worker. I'm not saying that at all. But there is such stigma around those of darkness that they avoid going there altogether. They are a light worker and they're here for the light and love, and unfortunately they cannot maintain that illusion. Sooner or later they will show their true colors. You'll see them become very manipulative and controlling and fear-based, all of these things. But they're here for the same reason, which is the evolution of the native human population and this planet. They have a different way of doing it. Some of them even have their own agendas. But at the end of the day, they're still here for the same reason. You got to have variety. You know what I mean? All you have to do is be true to who you are. Follow your heart. Follow your guidance within. And it'll be fine. Don't go into playing the games and all this other crap, because if you do, you're going to miss an incredible ride that's already in front of you. Now, another group that we've got are known as the Watchers. The Watchers are an interesting bunch. Now, all of these groups that I'm going over, they're all volunteers. All right. Now, there can be Watchers who are also light workers, starseeds, dark workers, or they can just plain be Watchers. Those who are simply a Watcher, many times they're not consciously awakened here. They observe a lot. They love observing human interaction. They love observing energy, perhaps the weather, just a myriad of different things. And what happens is at night, when they sleep, they go to wherever it is that they go, usually a higher dimensional ship, and they discuss their observations, what they see, what they've experienced. Sometimes they're also the ones who go and go, it's time to go to the next stage now. Because no one's better at watching than they are. No one's better at observing than they are. They have a tendency to really stay in the moment and not live in the past or try and live in the future, but really stay in the moment. They're really good at it. We have the masters. These are the individuals that come from the 4 original groups. Some of these individuals have been the masters, meaning like Yeshua ben Joseph, Mary Magdalene, Muhammad, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Confucius. There's been a number of them, more than just what we think of through religion. There's been more than just that. Their whole purpose is to move things forward, to create situations that enable certain things to occur, and make sure things happen. Now, there are a number of these masters, and trust me, they don't classify themselves as masters at all. All right, I'm simply using that word to show the difference, and that's all it is. All right, they don't view themselves in that manner. There are those who are split souls. Now, what a split soul is an individual who's incarnated here on this planet, and they're also incarnated, say, on a 5th dimensional ship at the same time. For all intents and purposes, they're 2 different beings, but they are one. And the reason for this is because their presence is required on the planet for what's happening here. But they're also required on the ship where they are in the 5th dimension. And they're required to be there and here. And so the only way to do it is to basically split yourself into 2, and part of you on the planet and part of you there. And it's not easy. You always feel like there's a piece of you missing. Some people feel this way when their twin flame, who's on the other side, is really connected with them in a major way. Okay? And they feel them, but they're not here in physical. So they're always looking for their twin flame, and they're always, they always feel like a part of them is missing because they're not here with them. But they're not missing because they're there. It's the same with the split soul. I mean, the 5th dimensional self is always present with the person that's in the 3rd dimension. That their aspect that is in the 3rd dimension. Now we have the indigo children and the crystalline children. Indigo children started coming in about 20, 30 years ago. Their main purpose, I know that there's, like Cryon and Lee Carroll have published books about the indigo children, and many others have as well. The indigo children basically were laying the path, if you will, for the crystalline children. They're a bridge between the old energy and the new energy. And the crystalline children who are being born today, they're bringing the new energy. And there's alterations that have happened to them physically within the DNA, within the RNA, that scientists haven't picked up on. And I doubt if they're going to pick up on it anytime soon. Eventually they will, but that's much further down the track. But now, the new energy's coming in. You look at a baby. Look at them in their eyes. Tell me they're not different. At the moment, I work in a hospital. Mind you, I do medical records. It's nothing glamorous. Trust me, it's not. But when I'm leaving, a lot of times I'll see small children. And I'll also see them like in a grocery store or whatever. And you can see it in their energy. You can see it in their eyes. They are different. They're not like they used to be. This is part of what's going on. This is part of the evolution. It takes time. It's not going to happen in our lifetime, people. So what can you do? You're a volunteer, starseed, light worker, whatever you want to call it. What can you do? You have to learn to love yourself. That's the bottom line. You have to learn to trust in your own heart, your own guidance, your own divinity. You have to become a living example. You can go into YouTube, watch my videos, watch videos from heaps of other people on twin flames, on channelings, whatever. It's all good. It's to help the volunteers. If you come from the Pleiades, there are certain things that you believe that everybody believes because there's part of universal truth. But there are going to be things that you believe and that is true for you that is not true for someone from Sirius or someone from Arcturus. Why do you think there, like the channelings that happen and these beings that come and speak and they're from all these different places and Tobin doesn't really resonate with me. And somebody else is going to go, Tobin, wow, yeah, that totally resonates with me. Why? Because you're volunteers. You come from a lot of different places. That's why there are people here. I say people. Some people say beings or quantum beings or higher dimensional beings. I say people because to me they're all people. That's why there are people here from Arcturus, from the Pleiades, from Sirius. They are here to connect with you, to assist you on your journey, on your path. But we're all volunteers. You don't go around judging each other because that's silly and stupid. Honor somebody else's truth and watch them honor your truth. Something that ignites that passion inside of you might not do it for somebody else. Guess what? Who cares? It ignited it for you. That's all that matters. It's time to put away childish games and toys. See, for light workers and dark workers, they get caught up in the whole duality thing. I'm a light worker and things must go this way. I'm a dark worker and it's really crap, so I'm just going to say I'm a light worker and, I'm lucky. I'm not a light worker and I'm not a dark worker. I'm from one of the original 4 groups, the Blue Star. We are in charge of training volunteers who came here. We have also been in charge of creating devices and implants that have gone into volunteers to help them forget. Normally these things will deactivate and fade away naturally. Sometimes they don't, and that's where people like me come in and remove them. That's part of the Blue Star healing method, or the light body advanced healing that I do, is removing these devices and implants that have malfunctioned and that you no longer need. But even sometimes they've malfunctioned. Sometimes you just keep hanging on and holding on to them because you don't know any better. Well, guess what? It's time to wake up, people. Hello, wake up. It's time. All you got to do is one thing: be who you are. The native human population is evolving. As volunteers, we have been here over 250,000 years assisting in this project. It's not the first time that this project has been done. It's not the last. There is a planet out there right now that is in its initial stages. And it's going to be a long time before the volunteers go there and help them. Most of the volunteers who are here right now, you're coming back. You're going to be here for a long time. Think of it this way. As a volunteer, you're like the mentor to the native human population. But in order to really be who you are, you have to first learn to love yourself. You have to first learn to accept who you are. Not what other people want you to be, but who you really are. There are some people that's going to watch this and go, full of shit. Nah. Go deeper. You'll know I speak the truth. If you're a volunteer, a light worker, dark worker, starseed, indigo child, crystalline child, you don't come from Earth. A native human, what makes a native human? Their soul has never lived anywhere besides Earth. As a volunteer, you've lived everywhere but Earth. Till now. Now you do. Not all of you have participated in all 5 grand cycles here. This is the 5th one we're in. This is the successful one. This is the one where they chose to evolve. We are the guides. You watch in the next 20 years. You watch the amount of breakthroughs that happen. You watch how many young people end up going to MIT, have incredible intelligence, completely seeing things outside the square and outside the box like you would not believe. Watch how things change. Watch how things change between countries, among people. On the news today, the Supreme Court of the United States basically granted gay marriage for the entire United States. 10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. Things are changing. It takes time. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is be true to who you are. Listen to your heart. Listen to your guidance. That's the important aspect. Don't get into arguments with other people because they hold a different truth than you. Be true to who you are. Respect other people and their truth. And they'll start respecting you and your truth. And I'll tell you a secret. You might think that the truths are really different, but when you stop long enough to really consider it, you actually discover that they're not as different as you think they are. So I'm going to close this little thing with a little light language. I love my light language. I actually find it much easier than English. Light language is a heart language. So don't try and conceptualize it in your mind. Listen to it from your heart. Toni ke la ite tiela protodoi kerati piela ite kortonoi chni. Ishi karatotola pra ito roto para heke tia laha to roto tosha pra iara hato korototoia te lei piale i to roto namaha iara kutoroto lo prototo kora tamiti kira tamahi de tongia ke tia laha to o te mai tia karoto nois tieta Ies niela eta nie makinyet nie to ndiete undia haita iti kititi roto tol pratikirito moto shieta kai roto mahite. Many blessings, peace and love to each and every one of you who watches this. Whether you watch it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, doesn't matter. Because whenever you listen to it, it'll be that now moment of time. Don't judge yourself. If you doubt who you are, go within. I'm not going to tell you where you come from because that's for you to discover. In the early 90s, I went to 5 different psychics at psychic fairs over the course of about 3 years. Same question, who am I for real? All 5 gave me the same answer. We're not allowed to tell you. It's taken a long time, but I know who I am now. I know where I come from. And it's a good day. Peace. Love life for life's sake. Love yourself, because it's the right damn thing to do.